Right. Can you see me?
There is no video currently.
Oh, there's no video. Oh, right. I
Yeah.
didn't realize. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Um, that's a bit annoying actually, because I wanted to see you and stuff. Because it just makes me more comfortable. But
I
yeah,
get it. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, what were we talking about? We're talking about
It
um
was like Blackpill and
incel,
Redpill and all that
yeah,
stuff, right?
incels, red pill, and black pill, black
Yeah.
pilling. What are your thoughts on that?
Um. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that our culture, like talking specifically about the UK, our culture, something
Yeah.
there's something seriously wrong with relationships.
Oh, there is, man. It's actually unspoken about as well. There's not
Yeah.
enough people
Yeah.
talking about it.
And I think there's a reaction that is both justifiable and extreme. Um, that is coming out from people, sort of things like it's black pill type people. And have you heard of MGTOW, which is men going their own way? It's a big. I don't think it's as big a thing now, but it was like a few years ago. Um,
Vaguely remember it.
yeah, I mean,
The term
it's
sounds.
it's very. Like, I think it's pretty obvious to see there's something seriously wrong with relationships. So this sort of
Yeah.
reaction is, in my eyes, like it's completely expected. Um, Having said that, as with most reactions, it's obviously going too far. The the response from like black pill type people is
Hmm.
basically everyone else is living in ignorant bliss.
Mm.
I have realized how fucked up the situation is,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to wallow in nihilism and despair and basically turn to sort of hatred as a response
Yeah.
to what's happening. And it's just
Honestly.
it's obviously not a viable solution. Like it's obviously
Yeah.
not. But you
It's
can see why
it's
it's happening.
it it's not because like I feel like life is all about hope, and without hope and without ambition, without motivation, you you can't exist. Like I've been there mentally where I've been like, you get to a point where you just feel like everything is pointless. Like, you know, and for you to just be like, I have no hope, that is literally a death sentence. You're
Yeah.
on the edge, and and yeah, I just was listening to some of these guys speak, and some of the experiences are vaguely familiar
Mhm.
because as men, we've all gone through rejections. Like, isn't
Yeah.
that's just the way, society has been constructed where men chase women, not the other way around,
Yeah.
you know. And, because of the fact that we're programmed to do that, they can pick from from the bunch, basically,
Uh huh.
the best of the bunch or whatever like category or or characteristic they've assigned in their head of what their preference would be. Anyway, um, yeah, we've all gone through rejections. We've all gone through that just because of the way it's constructed. So, like rejection is like a familiar thing for all of us. And when we hear stories like that, we go, yeah, we've gone through that before,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
And but for these guys particularly, it seems to be like a successive failures, like, and I can understand in that frame of mindset where you're like, I'm trying my hardest and nothing is happening. Like, what is going on with me? Like, why am I not desirable? Or that kind of
Yeah.
thinking. And it's like a sliding scale. As soon as you start thinking like that, you will go straight to the bottom. And I know this because, like, I just know, like, I've had moments where my mindset, like, because of the way I think, has let me into a hole that I'm like, whoa, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's very much like every. It's like you said. Every guy can see the parallels between the stories of these people and their own experiences.
Yeah.
Um, there's a very big like one of the things that's touted a lot nowadays is sort of you're perfect how you are.
Yeah.
People, you just haven't found the right person yet. People don't, people around you,
Yeah.
they just don't accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
Fuck,
I'm not gonna lie to
fuck
you, right?
that.
Yes, I think it's cap. I think it's bullshit.
It's complete fucking.
That's
What if
blue
you are
pill
fucking?
thinking
Yeah,
that.
it is. So I don't like to use their language because I
Yeah, I know.
disagree with the
I hate
premise.
to like validate them because they're
No, I
cringy.
agree.
Like I think all of them are cringy,
Oh,
like using
definitely.
those
Yeah, yeah,
terms.
yeah. But at the same time, like
Yeah,
complete. That's it's obviously wrong.
yeah,
What if I'm overweight, depressed? I have no education.
yeah,
I have a shitty attitude, and I refuse to help
yeah,
myself or others. Like,
yeah,
maybe I'm not good enough as I am. Maybe I do need
yeah,
to fucking
yeah,
improve, right? Um,
yeah, yeah. But
and
this is the thing I hate about people. Like life is just like it's got to a stage where you know everyone has got to make sense of it because they don't want to not make sense of it because the
mm,
thought of doing that would send them into abyss. So like they try and tell you things which are not true just to be as a coping mechanism, as in
yeah,
like, all these little phrases like, oh, you'll find the right one and all that kind of stuff. To someone like that who doesn't feel any self-worth and feels like objectively he is not what people want to pursue,
mm,
like, and that's pretty much what it would be, and it's like, what are the chances of him making this one in a million that's gonna like him for all
for
his
all his
flaws and
inadequacies,
and
yeah,
his inadequacies? Like, isn't the chances of that is not as high as people would make it out to
oh
seem?
yeah,
So it's like, but that's why I subscribe to the red pill insight, where it's like you're aware of all these things and you try and find ways to beat the system, like try and find like knowledge, gain knowledge, how to flip the switch, like how to basically know how the game is played and adjust as a result. Build yourself up, build your personality up,
yeah,
be fun, go to the gym, work out, have a goal in your life, have a mindset, be driven, be motivated, chase the bag,
yeah. I mean, like,
like that's the mindset.
exactly, exactly. I mean, one of the yeah, I mean the attitude. I mean, maybe. I mean, we could definitely link this back to when we talked about podcasts earlier and why
Yeah.
part of why people enjoy them. And like I mentioned, there's something about connection, right? I actually don't
Yeah.
think that many people these days have real friends because real friends will tell you
Oh,
about your inadequacies. And you've done
that's so
exactly that for
true.
me many times, and I deserved it, and it was extremely helpful. But that's what a real friend does. But what we have nowadays for a lot of people, because like again, a lot of their social interaction is all online and it's all shallow,
Yeah. It's
um,
so shallow, man.
horrendously. So okay, if all of it, if 90% or 99% of your friends are this sort of shallow, you interact through social media and stuff, you don't really have any conversations that you would deem meaningful or useful. It's all very surface level. Who the fuck is going to tell you, sorry, Ed, but you aren't hot? Like, who's going to tell you that?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wants to be like, pardon the irony here. Everybody wants to be buddy buddy, friends friends. Like, isn't that's what you should do. That's the purpose of being friends. But at the same time, you should be honest with the people you're with.
Yeah,
Like, isn't that is the part of the bond that you share as friends. You're like
yeah.
able to talk to each other and not be shallow. And I feel like a lot of friendships these days is people do it for the clout, or just the perception of not wanting to be lonely.
Hmm.
And that's another deeper issue we can explore another time.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of the things that I've noticed definitely over the past year, and it's been something I've experienced through most of my life, is that you there's this big expectation, especially with social media, right? Back when it was like MySpace and Bebo, is how many, I don't even know,
Yeah.
what was it, followers? That's Twitter, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whatever it
yeah.
was.
I'm following you on MySpace.
Yeah, exactly. Like how many your kind of social clout was measured
Yeah,
in those kinds of really high
yeah,
numbers that you obviously don't have that many friends. That's just not how it works.
yeah, yeah,
Something I've had to come to terms with over the years is that actually the modern perception of how many friends you should have, how many friends each, but it's so most of these friends, it's shallow and it's bullshit. I
Yeah,
have
I know, and I can admit to that as in like right now in my life. Like, as in, obviously, I'm not going to name who the people are, but I I know myself. There's a lot of friendships I have, which some of them will be mainly acquaintances, but like, isn't it's just purely out of convenience. Like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
you met in a certain period, and like, is there like like you were saying, like the media has made it to seem be like that you're meant to have like 1,000 friends. Like, it's actually
yes.
one, two, three who you value.
Oh yeah. Well, to paraphrase the great Joey Diaz, like give me two bad motherfuckers and I'll take over a country. Like you don't need many. You don't need fucking hundreds. You don't need tens of friends. If you have two, if you have two
Yeah,
people that you can turn to when you really need them, you know that they'll help you. They know that you'll
yeah,
help them. Um,
yeah,
I mean, my buddy Ben is a great example of this. You haven't met him, um,
yeah.
but while I was a student and I was broke, he was working. Whenever we wanted to go out and do things, oh, sorry guys, I can't because I don't have the money, right? He didn't give a fuck. He paid
Mm.
for hotel rooms, he paid for meals for me, and
Wow.
now that I'm, a semi-functioning adult with at the beginning of my career, and he's in between jobs at the moment, I'm the one that's helping him out, and there's no second thought about it in the slightest, because he's a
Oh
bad
man.
motherfucker that I will stick by till the fucking
Wow.
end.
See, like, I've never had a friend that's actually paid for shit for me like that. Most of the money I've got off my friends are like me asking to borrow it. And I remember one time one of my friends, he was like, I love him to bits. Like, I see him as my brother, basically. Like, but when we were younger, he was so stingy, and he was just a capitalist. It's just like he acted like a bank. Like, he'd borrow me like £10, and he like, you better pay me interest
Fucking hell. I've,
because
I've never had someone try and charge interest, I'm not gonna lie.
because because you didn't pay it on time, so you have to pay interest now.
Oh my god.
Oh man, this was during a really bad time when I was in was it yeah, beginning of second year when they miscalculated my student loan. So
Yeah.
I was basically poor. Like, I had
Oh
no
my
money for
god.
food and
So your
shit. So
friend, the loan
I was
shark, decides
literally
to give you a
on the
hand.
yeah, just ask for like £10 because I borrowed so much money already from my mom that she was getting annoyed at me asking every
Yeah.
week. So I was like, oh Nick, please, just this time, like, is I'll pay you back. Obviously, I was struggling. I hadn't got a job yet, like part-time job. So I was like, I was taking a long time to pay it back and stuff. So yeah, like I was saying, like, even that's an example of like, isn't it would I don't think any of my friends have ever like paid for like a hotel or like some food for me like that, like
Yeah.
without asking for it back or expecting it back. Like, as in,
Yeah.
that is a different kind of relationship. That's brotherhood. That.
No, I totally agree. I mean,
Mm,
one of the things my buddy Luke said to me was that because I was getting bothered because they were saying, "Oh, I just like we'll just pay for you." Like it was actually to do with the hotel specifically, because I was like, "Sorry guys, I can't come up and stay because I simply don't have the money." And yeah, my Luke said to me, "Ed, you realize that relationships aren't transactional. That's not how it works." I was like, it took a while to kind of come to grips with that, but yeah,
wow.
nowadays it just isn't even a second thought. And you can, to be fair, I think you can really tell who a lot of your friends are based on how. It sounds bad, but if they're willing to just drop money on you, like for small things, right? Like we went out to this shitty American diner 2 days ago. I think it was yesterday actually. But we all went out for food, and like Ben's in between jobs, so rather than
Mm,
him show up and have to like not have much to eat or whatever, I'm like fuck it, just
mm,
buy the burger you like, grab the burger you want. We'll all have milkshakes. Like who gives a fuck? I'll pay for it. It's not
mm.
massive amounts of money in the slightest. I'm not doing it all the time.
Wow. Yeah, man. I say I expect. Not even that I expect. More just that it would have been nice, but not. It's not a degradation of any of the relationship I have with
Yeah.
anyone. but just saying that, like it is like an extra, like it's like an extra XP point basically. Like it's
Yeah,
not it's just, yeah, it's just like a an added, you know,
yeah,
like
no, I understand, but I mean,
and
circling this back to what we talked about before, like this is definitely that sort of relationship that I have with my buddy Ben, right?
mm,
I think this is, yeah, this discussion around money, like this is actually a pretty good
mm.
way of characterizing the problem with relationships at the moment, like,
Oh my
or
God,
like
thank you
like
for
an
bringing it
archetype
back because
maybe.
I forgot the tangent. This is where we started off. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but like even romantic relationships, it's obvious that there is something really, really fucked up at the moment. I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. I think it's probably extremely complex. Technology
Yeah.
definitely plays a part in it. I would love to get
Oh,
your
that has
input on
fucked things up.
Tinder,
That
for
is the
example.
cause. That is the cause. I'm honestly, when I wasn't alive for the 90s and the 80s, but from what I hear from my parents, it was easy to get a girlfriend. It was easy to get a relationship. Like it was just like, you just bumped into someone in the street and you started talking to them, and for some reason they wanted to talk to you back, and you just founded natural chemistry and conversations and bonded with people. Even if you made friends, and it was all easier than what it is nowadays. Nowadays, if you try and speak to someone randomly at a bus station or a bus stop,
Oh
they will
yeah.
look at you like you're a weirdo,
Oh
like
yeah.
some homeless guy trying to ask them for some money or something.
Yeah.
And it's like just, yeah, like the social media and technology is fucked. Like
Yeah.
real connections being made with people. That is a massive
Yeah.
like
I mean,
downgrade. Like,
well, so
you know.
I would actually, I wouldn't agree that Tinder is the cause. Um,
Not Tinder, just like well, dating apps included, but like just tech in general, like people wanting to text rather than see each other, people wanting to be on
yeah.
their phones constantly,
Yeah. I mean,
that kind of
I still disagree.
thing.
Um,
Okay, okay,
so
all right.
reason being, I feel like it doesn't, even though social media in general and technology is definitely, there's been some legitimate revolutions in terms of social interaction that
Yeah.
we are not even coming close to coming to terms with. But I
Mm,
think that prior to that, we already had the it was the slow loss of traditional values, especially religious values,
yeah,
compounded by the fact that the pill and contraceptives are just so easy to access and they're so effective.
yeah,
Over time, we were seeing this trend anyway. So
yeah.
I say this like I have any idea what I'm talking about, and I really fucking don't. But
Oh
still,
no, I know what you mean. I
um,
know what you mean. Like, yeah,
but
the
I mean,
2006 around that kind of
yeah,
time.
and I'd say like what social media and dating apps especially do is they are pouring petrol onto the fire that was already
Made
existing.
made it easier.
Yeah, I mean it's modern the values that are it placed in modern relationships at the moment are just emphasized, compounded by these dating apps. Things like
Yeah, it's
Tinder.
totally emblematic of it, isn't it? It's basically short term, um, like convenience,
Yeah,
uh, excess, just um, yeah, just like making quick, like self, just making things very quick and just what's that word they constantly use on all these, like you hear the term all the time on podcasts about our millennial society right now, like
well, like
in terms of,
expedient.
yeah, expedient and self gratifying, or like
Oh
is in,
yeah, yeah. Oh, I see.
um, yeah,
Oh, like instant gratification.
instant gratification.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah,
yeah.
just like that. I hate to say that word because it's overused nowadays,
It
but
is,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. Like, and that is emblematic of the app itself and the technology, you know,
Mhm.
and that's just one of the down points of,
Uh
and
huh.
just leading back to relationships.
100%.
Um,
And it definitely enables people who are. I mean, so take Tinder for example. It really these dating apps really enable some of the worst men to have
Hmm.
as wide a reach as possible when it comes to women. So imagine you have a
Yeah.
small. This is prior to social media. You have a close knit group of friends.
Yeah.
Someone fucks up. Uh, they do something bad. Maybe they sleep with someone, and maybe basically things go sour, and people suss out, hey, maybe this guy's a bit of a dickhead. Um,
Yeah.
then that's it for him. Effectively, he has to go and for either reconcile thing with those friends, which is going to take a long time, and people know what he's like now, so they're not going to fall for his bullshit rather. Or he has to fuck off and get a different group of friends. And it's from within that group of friends, generally speaking, that relationships and stuff would occur. I mean, not all of
Hmm.
them, but a large proportion. But
Are
take
you talking about? Are you talking about back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day, prior to social
Okay.
media.
Okay.
But
All right.
now, so I had a guy friend at university who
Mm.
would use Tinder to literally, it was just to sleep around. That was all it was for.
Smart.
And yeah, but he treated each of the girls that he slept with really terribly.
Like
Um,
an item.
yeah,
Like
effectively.
this is my number one conquest. This is my number two conquest.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
just
I mean,
bad.
and obviously, me and my buddies were young and stupid, so we didn't really grasp
Young,
just
dumb, and full of.
well, no, that was the girls. Um, we didn't grasp just how kind of insidious it was.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember we would refer to girls by where they were from prior to being at university
Yeah.
because
Where you
like there
from?
was just there were too many names to remember. A bunch of them would have overlapping names. There'd be like two Rachels and three like
Oh my god.
Stephanies or whatever. So we just refer to
I
them by
think she
their.
had blonde hair. I think that one was
Oh
brunette.
yeah, like but the point I'm making is that if the way that he treated these girls, that
Yeah.
never could have happened prior to Tinder, because he could act like a prick, and then 2 days later he could be sleeping with a completely different girl that he's never met before, because there's no required social links. There's nothing.
It's like giving the Thanos glove to like some psychopath or some narcissist. Like
He clicks
it's
his
like
fingers and
you're
shags
giving
off the
the power
girls.
to the worst possible person.
It's
Like
terrible. It really
yeah,
is,
he's
and
got all the cards in his hand and he just manipulates it at his
yeah,
own will.
100%. And to be honest, because there's definitely. I mean, if you heard of the whole like kill all men stuff, I'm sure you've heard this phrase at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of that is a legitimate response to shitheads like the friend I used to have? Um,
What that philosophy of okay, I get
yeah,
you.
like how much do you
Mm,
think? How much of that do you think is like a genuine reaction and a legitimate, like a justifiable one to an extent, because of the fact that guys these days, really bad guys,
mm,
in my opinion,
okay,
can go
okay,
and
okay.
be absolute
Yeah,
fucking assholes, and there's
yeah.
basically zero
That's
zero
that's a
consequences.
very good point, and it's a great trajectory for for just a general point I was gonna make anyway. Like I feel like so the phrase "kill all men," right? You said is there an element of is it proportional the reaction? And for me, that is just totally just completely like ridiculous
Oh,
because
obviously, yeah.
like yeah because like so kill all men. We're talking about, in my opinion, the shitbags are just like a 20% minority because I see, well, there's just from personal experience. There's a lot of nice guys out there. But like the thing is, that's not really like I don't want to go off the stereotypical, oh, because you're a nice guy, you finish last. No, like isn't well, there's some element of that that's true. That's just
Yeah, yeah,
female
definitely.
psychology. But like to say kill all men, that is just ridiculous because like half of the people say that are immature people, so they're probably under the age of 25. And if you're over the age of 25 and you're still saying stuff like that, then mate, you need to sort your life out
Yeah.
because
Well,
like that is
it's
a
yeah.
stupid mindset to have.
Well, it's
Anyway,
the
right?
female
Like
equivalent of the black pill, you know?
you yeah, like I mean that is like isn't to have like a broad um 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 a broad to tell a broad um subset of people, or in this case gender, by a brush of the minority of 20, 10, 20% of guys that you've met. Like, let's take into two things. Like, first of all, women are going to have way more options than men in general because they're the ones that are being chased, right?
Yeah.
And then also, you think about the fact that, yeah, they're only meeting like, isn't like the traits. So they're going after the traits that they desire, right?
Mhm.
But like they're not willing to diversify from the field that they're picking in. So because of that, they keep seeing the same shitbags that they deal with constantly, and they in the beginning will treat them nicely, and or like isn't they will have the like dominance and the mindset, and that attracted them in the first place, and then it's that same alpha mindset that ends up making them unhappy and wanting to get out of those relationships
Mhm.
because isn't it's like a double-edged sword. The one thing that you like is also ends up hurting you in the end. So it's like you're in that circle of pool of people that you're meeting, and you're basically going to take a judgment of that small sample and then disregard the wide ass circle outside of that. You're just going to disregard that. Oh yeah, just men are just shit. No, oh, kill all men. Like that that's the solution. They're all
Mhm.
shit bags. Like isn't none of them are nice guys. They just use you. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like that kind of mentality for me is just like and like you said, it is slightly similar to that black pill mindset, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's just it's like, yeah, I just feel like people, well, women, not that I'm trying to tell women what to do, but this is just from my perspective.
Oh,
Like,
I'm telling women what to
um,
do. Oh,
yeah.
my bad. Shit.
stay out of women's business, right? So that small pool of people, you making decisions on, and majority of these people are young people, guaranteed, like 20 under 26. I
Yeah,
promise you,
definitely, definitely.
and and so so because of that, they camp men into one under one bracket, right? But there's a lot of nice guys that they will dismiss because they don't have that like excitement that gives them that like chase. It's too easy for them. And likewise with us, like when a girl shows us too much attention, we think this is too easy. There's no conquest. So it goes both ways. But like, yeah, just the nice guys seem to be limited and not having enough maybe confidence or swag or drip,
Mm.
or money, you know. And it's like it's gonna switch because after you finish the age of 26, you're gonna grow up. Like there's a reason why your mom thinks a certain way compared to you. Like your mom's priorities are way different to your priorities right now. That's because she's older, way
Mhm.
more experienced in life than you, has had more years on the earth, and has understood how men are and how society is. As a result, they act way more mature than than we do, because we're still like we're not kids, but like we're young people, we're not experienced and old,
Yeah.
and yeah, and after you reach the age of 26, I believe, just from the I speak to 26, 27, 28 year olds I've interacted with, this flip is switched. Like they don't even care about looks or like any of that shit. It's all about, can you provide for your family? Like, are you financially secure? Are you a good person? Like, isn't like, are you a fatherly figure and all that stuff? And
Mhm.
like, isn't can you take care of them? And it's like I look at them and a lot of like stunning 27, 28 year olds, they're just average looking men. And it's just because of the stability they provide and being having other qualities except for drip and swag and all that cool stuff that
Yeah.
the kids used to think about when they're under 25. And that's just the way life is. Like I feel like life gives you certain like sections, quarters of life that everyone goes through. Like you reach the age of 15, you hit puberty, you go through that phase. Then 15 to 25, you go through uni, you have independence, all that stuff. 20 to 25, you're going into the job world, job market, getting used to that. Then from that age, you're onwards, you're looking at starting a family and you're having a mortgage and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, for me, that's how I view it. It's like different. There's different boxes and different sections in life that
Yeah.
we all go through. And just to finish off, like um, yeah, and those people that think that way kill all men. That is just it's not going to be a thing that's in permanence or in perpetuity. It's going to change because of the way life is, and they'll drop all the um even us as men as well. We'll drop all the superficialness because that is too common these days, just from people under the age of 25, because
Hmm.
that's just how we've been programmed. We haven't had any other social conditioning but to go, oh, she's a pretty girl, he's a pretty boy, like let's go mingle. That's
Yeah.
just how we see things now.
Why?
So
Yeah, I know what you mean. Cause so back when I was in sort of college and end of high school, so between what 15 and 18 years old, I was fully 100% one of these like nice guys come last type people.
yeah,
Like I remember prior to like the whole nice guys come last meme coming around, I
yeah.
remember having the exact thought of, man, I'm such a nice guy. Why don't any of these girls want me? Quite literally, like
Yeah, I
I
still
wish
feel
I
like that
was.
some days, but
I mean, I get it, but there was
yeah,
I definitely thought that back in the day, 100%.
yeah.
It's like I wish I knew what a simp was back when I was 16 years old because I could have cut
Oh
out a
yeah,
lot of my
oh
bullshit back then.
man.
Um, my life would be fundamentally different if someone had just
Yeah,
showed me a simp meme.
having a crush and it being unrequited.
Exactly. Like it's terrible. But the point
Yeah, we've
is
all been there.
that it's basically being nice isn't enough.
No.
There are so many more things that can make you attractive or unattractive,
Under
and
this is under this age, by the way, so we know it's not permanent. So whoever out there is like has those those doubts within themselves and about like isn't why their life why they're not having success in that area of field, like
hmm
that's not a permanent thing. That's just where kids growing up and understanding relationships. It's not.
so I worry that, I mean, a certain amount, I think, when people hit a certain age, their priorities do shift and they realize, hang on
Yeah,
a second, maybe
yeah,
I want a
that's the overall
family,
point I'm trying to
whatever.
make. Yeah.
But I do worry that not as many people as we want go through that process, and not
You
as
think
many
so?
people as yeah. There was a statistic I saw recently, and it was like the most effectively the most depressed people by if you split it down by gender and age and some other factors is women between the ages of like 39 and 42, and they're single and unmarried and they don't have kids. Um,
Wow.
and that I really worry that I don't see any reason for the increase in negative attitudes towards men as a whole. I don't see any reason for that to not continue post, say, like 29, 30 years old. I think a lot of people will
Wow.
kind of convert and get their priorities straight and realize that actually they could be happy if they went for the right kind of person and they matured themselves and they figured out what they wanted and etc etc. But I do worry that yeah,
That's interesting.
I do worry about that a little bit, to be honest.
That's very interesting. Me personally, I think like isn't. Yeah, that's a good perspective. That's a different perspective I haven't heard. But me personally, I think it will. I think it will because I just think of so many examples of people I know. And I've been on this earth for about 22 years now, so
Hmm.
I've met so many grown-ups in my lifetime that are between the ages of 30 and all that. And I think there's a switch that flips because your priorities sort of change because of biological reasons as well. Like for your woman, I think your prime years are from the age of 20 to like 35 or something. I think
It's
that's
much
what
less. I think it's 20 to 24 or something. It's pretty
I
young.
don't think it's 24. I think it's maybe 30.
There was a, I can't remember what I was listening. It was a podcast I was listening to recently where they were talking about the increase in probability of problems experienced during a pregnancy, and
Hmm.
how that basically how the risk breaks down with age, and how between past I want to say 30 years old, you'd be really surprised at, I think it's, I'm going to completely butcher this, but I think it was that at 35, there's a 20% chance that the pregnancy is either miscarried or that it has some sort of genetic abnormality. It's
Wow. And
yeah.
this is from the age of 20 to 25,
So
did you
so
say?
I think that was at 35 years old. I think that's what the average was.
At,
I'm probably
at
completely
35.
butchering that. Yeah, but
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's a similar code to what I saw.
mm,
Yeah, because I saw the prime childbearing age where, yeah, because as you get older, the chances and the risks get even increased at the same time proportionally.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, like when you reach the age of, like you said, 35, there's a higher rate and
yeah,
higher
much
chance
much
of
higher. I mean,
complications.
one in
And
five pregnancies at that age having those sorts of
yeah,
issues
that's
is
crazy.
that's
That's
fucking
a
mad.
big. That's big. That's yeah, yeah. And so like yeah, just to go back to the original point, it was like the age of 20 to like 30-ish. That's the prime years that you should, and I feel like eventually it will clock on at that stage because I see so many adults and 30-year-olds and stuff that, have kids and families and, mortgages and as in they're settled
Mhm.
and they're like having marriages and all that stuff. And it's like, it feels like the majority. Maybe it isn't, but like it feels like it because we've been around it for so much. All our family
Yeah.
members and our cousins, uncles, they go through that stage, and yeah, you see who they're with, and some of them are punching, some of them are not, and it's just the way like the life is presented itself that people are looking at things way more above the superficial levels than what we used to when we were younger.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
mean, I part of that like swap and changing of your priorities is really just it's really just part of maturation, you know. Um,
Mhm.
but
Yes,
I would
maturity. That's
argue,
it.
well, I don't think that maturing is guaranteed as you age by any means. Like
Oh
you're
no, it's not. No, I've met a lot of 30-year-olds that are
oh
like
yeah.
kids.
Oh my god, I won't say his name for obvious reasons, but you remember that
Yeah,
guy
we
in
know, we know who
Cardiff?
we're talking about.
Oh my god, like that is
Yeah,
when you see that, it's pretty staggering. If I'm
yeah,
like this guy by that age, I'm being as I'm trying to give away absolutely zero details, but
yeah,
it's terrible, man. It's really terrible, and you
yeah,
can see things like the average age for people getting married is going up. Um,
yeah.
the age that people are leaving home, I say kids, young adults leaving their parents' home and finally living by themselves is going up. Um,
Hmm.
it feels like all the phases of maturation. So I said to a buddy of mine, um, we were talking about maturing and stuff, and I said to him that I felt 16 up until I turned 22. Like from the ages
Yes,
of 16 to
yes,
22, I
yes.
felt
Oh
that
my God,
age. You know,
I had that same feeling. Oh
it's
my God,
so
I felt so
strange.
young at 21. Like, it wasn't until after lockdown where I realized I was old.
But it wasn't even
Like,
that. It was more like that I
no,
had the mindset and attitude of a 16-year-old. You see what I mean?
yeah, yeah, but that's exactly what I mean. Like, is when I was before the age of 20, I was still under the naive mindset of life will take care of
Mm.
itself
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
things fall into place for me. It's that mature mindset of a teenager.
yeah,
And I didn't stop thinking like that until just before the lockdown happened. Or like, is it no, in fact, it was during the lockdown. That's when I made the transfer
yeah,
of that mindset,
yeah.
you know.
I know what you mean, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm
Yeah,
definitely a victim of this as well. But it's as though whatever's going on in our culture and our society is
yeah,
stunting the growth, like the emotional growth and the growth of character
yeah,
of
yeah.
the vast majority of people. I mean, that's one of the reasons that you see so many so the kill all men thing, for example.
Suicide.
It's because these people. It's because these women are having interactions with horridly immature men. Not,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not discounting the things that they do because some of them are genuinely bad people, but a lot of them are
yeah,
naive. A lot of them
yeah,
have, a lot of them have the mindset at 25 of someone who's 14 years old.
yeah. Because they've always like they're a small minority. They're like the top 20%, let's say that, or top 10% of men that are highly valued, the high value men, as Kevin Samuels will say. So like, is it in that age, the high value man is someone who's good looking, tall, 6'5", he plays sport, has all the, you know, athletic achievements, or like he has money at the age. No, let's not even bring money into it. But like, it's purely like looks and characteristics and stuff like
Sure.
that. Popular in the social setting, a leader, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And in that setting, that's what a high value man would be to someone, a female that age, like a woman that age, a girl that age. That's the kind of desirability
Yeah.
that they would be drawn to. And then when you get older, it might, like, that I perceive that it will change, like it'll switch because of the way life is and maturity and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And yeah, like that, yeah, it's something to that's interesting, I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, it's such a complex topic that
Yeah,
has so many bits
yeah,
going into it, not just
yeah,
stuff that's occurring here and now, but sort of the historical
yeah,
context. It's
yeah,
so there's
yeah,
no way that us two, being
yeah,
the 24-year-old chimps that we are, who know
yeah,
nothing about fucking anything,
yeah,
can even get close to scratching the
yeah,
surface. But
yeah. We
that's
we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg, but if we
oh yeah,
kept going, we'd go on forever.
oh
Like,
yeah.
isn't it's that much to unpack in that
Well,
conversation,
this is
you
the
know?
sort of I mean the sort of things we're talking about, especially to do with relationships.
Yeah,
This is the sort of stuff that is going to be studied at universities
yeah.
in
I
30,
know
40, 50
it's
years time.
crazy, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
crazy. Like in
it's
psychology lessons and stuff.
yeah, yeah, 100%. It's kind of it's pretty scary to think, to be
It is
honest.
scary, man. Like,
But
that's a
then
deep talk, man.
the question becomes, how do people like ourselves avoid becoming like blackpilled, quote unquote? Because like we can both see the building burning around us. The question
Yeah,
is like how uh, oh god, what's that guy in? There's a character in Fallout New Vegas. There's a great video game, and
yeah.
he says the only reason I survived is because the fire inside me burned brighter than the fire around me. And I was
That's a
like, that's
good
a
point.
very good quote. So the question is,
That's a good point.
how do we as 24-year-old guys, how do we do that? How do we stoke that inner fire to make sure that we don't become nihilistic and like these black pilled people? Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a great transition to go off on, because at the moment I think I need to take a break because um yeah, I need a toilet break.
I need a
So yeah,
poo
I'll
too.
let you I'll let you um I'll let you go do your thing as well.
Yeah.
And when we come back, yeah, we'll get started on talking about another